DJ Titus, right here on the Ultimate Gospel Experience, the new praise 107.9, the Turn Up Radio Show. You know how we do it, baby. I got my radio wife in the building. What's up, Charlie? What's up, Charlie? Oh, yeah, not like that. You ain't gonna say nothing? you ain't gonna say nothing? Oh, you ain't a stank today, for real. And we got Mr. Ron Davis in the building. He is in the building, Jordan Davis's father. And we have on the line Dr. Umar Johnson. How are you doing, sir?
Good afternoon, my brother. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh man, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. I admire the work that you're doing in our communities, trying to rebuild and galvanize people of color, melanated people, to come back together again and do some amazing things. I think that's honorable and admirable, man, and I appreciate your work.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate those words.
Yeah, for real. So talk to us. Tell us about some of the things you're doing right now. You're working on a school right now as well, right?
Yes, sir. I just came from looking at another school building here in Pennsylvania yesterday. I'm going to be looking at a couple of buildings in Baltimore Thursday, and then a couple in Georgia the week after next, after speaking in Atlanta on New Year's Day. So we're trying to build the Frederick Douglass, or should I say we will build the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, International Leadership School, based on the principles of Pan-Africanism and African culture and international economics. I believe that constantly sending generation after generation of every black child out to college has been a...
You're going in and out, Dr. Umar. You're going in and out. Yeah.
How I sound now?
That sounds better.
Okay. But I'm of the premise that every black child does not necessarily need to go to college. We like to send every child to college, but the only thing college is doing for a lot of our young people is putting them into debt to the banks of America in the name of higher education. Some of our children should go to college, but then we need other streams to success and other streams to wealth. Right now we have over 2 million African Americans in this country with master's degrees and doctorate degrees who cannot find work. Wow. So at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, we're going to teach our young men how to build business, how to build corporation, the science of real estate, the science of investing. We want them to be economically effective after high school graduation, whether they pursue a college education or not.
I love that. I think that's so important. Myself, I ain't gonna even tell my age, but
you don't have to.
But I tell it. I'm 46 years old.
You're telling yourself every day.
Yes, I'm good. I'm 46 years old, and I just started going to college because I am a successful entrepreneur, and I just didn't feel the need. But now I'm just doing it now so I can show my children that you could do anything at any time if you want to. And so I think that that's the goal and the key. Like you say, you don't have to go to college to be successful, but you got that be successful and have success in you to do it, and that's all it takes.
Oh, without question. Some of the key aspects of the curriculum at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy will include political and military science. We want to make sure our young people understand the world that they live in. Why was Barack Obama made president of the United States, and did it have anything to do with America becoming a post-racial society? Why is Africa the most minerally rich continent on the face of the earth, and yet the people are the poorest? Why are black men more likely to be incarcerated and murdered by police than anyone else in the country? Why are black women the last to be married in this country? Why are black women most likely to be sexually assaulted and abused in the United States? So there's so much.
Wow. And these are going to be classes?
Oh, yes. There will be classes. There will be a class on white supremacy and racism, understanding racism and understanding how to navigate that racism. One of the disservices I think we do to our children is we do not teach them about racism until they encounter it. So what happens is the average black child experiences racism without having been adequately prepared for it by his parents. And what does he do? He reacts emotionally to it. See, children don't know how to deal with injustice, because there's nothing natural about injustice. The universe is based on law and order. So when something is done to you that is unjust, you automatically become emotional because this is wrong. And so we have to teach our children that there's ways to deal with injustice without being emotional, because racism expects black children to be emotional, and we have to teach them how to counteract the racism without becoming emotional.
That's good. We were just talking about that with Ron Davis, Mr. Ron Davis. You know, he experienced a tragedy when his son was murdered for loud music, and he was talking about how to deal with injustice. A lot of people, it's rough for them, and go through. You can even chime in, Mr. Davis, and talk about that, having that firsthand experience.
Yeah, you know, you can teach a 17 and 16 or 18-year-old about, you know, what has happened, but until it happens to them, they don't understand that you have to already challenge that emotion before it happens to you. So a lot of times, you know, you read in a book or you look at a video about racism, and it doesn't affect you the way it should. And so what happens, it's like abstract to you as a child, as a teenager, as a young black or brown child. But then when you're faced with racism, what is your reaction to that? My son's reaction was to shout back. You know, when he was thought of as a thug at a gas station playing his music, rap music loud, he fought back verbally because of the fact that why should this man, a white man, 47 years old, tell me to turn my music down? He doesn't understand that the day that Stand Your Ground took effect in Jacksonville, Florida, in the state of Florida in 2005, that just opened up the floodgates for people to buy guns and say, if any black or brown child, black or brown woman, anybody talks to me that I don't care, then I'm going to shoot and kill them and wrap myself around that flag and that law that says I stood my ground, because each and every one of them says, I feared for my life. Those are the 5 words that are being used all across America, no matter if it's a policeman or a private citizen.
That's true.
I feared for my life. If you look at what happened in Charleston, West Virginia, James Means, the guy that shot him, just because he had a verbal confrontation, the first thing he said was, I feared for my life. Even though you're the only one that had a gun, but you feared for your life, and it's happening so many times. So, like Dr. Umar said, is that, you know, we have to teach our children, we have to teach each other that this fear is real, that we have to make sure that we don't, you know, all of a sudden react to the racism that's out here. We have to let them know that racism is real.
It exists.
It exists.
Yeah.
And so when it's confronted, you know, you have to conduct yourself in a certain manner and not react to it that will get you killed and not bring you home to your family.
I agree. Listen, I got to play a song and then pay some bills, and we'll be back with Dr. Umar Johnson and Mr. Ron Davis right here on the Ultimate Gospel Experience, the new praise.
It's 107.9.
Turn us up. Now listen, right now, live in the studio, we have Mr. Ron Davis, Jordan Davis's father, and we have on the line Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson, and a lot of people don't know. We were talking offline. The name of your school is what again, Dr. Umar?
Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy.
A lot of people don't know that Marcus Garvey was a Christian, and so a lot of times when people say that name, they don't really. I mean, there's Christians that's not synonymous with that name, and they go, "Ooh, Marcus Garvey, he was pro-black." Yeah, he was pro-black because he was black. I mean, how can you not love yourself, your people? That don't mean you hate anybody else. You know what I'm saying? It just means we need to come together. And so he was a phenomenal leader that we had that we lost too soon. And so and you say that you're a descendant of Frederick Douglass, correct?
Kin to Frederick Douglass. I'm actually a descendant of his first cousin and half brother, Stephen Henry Bailey, my 4 times great grandfather. That's the same Stephen that Frederick talks about in his autobiography, growing up with cousin Steve on Tuckahoe Creek. Well, that cousin Steve is my 4 times great grandfather.
Wow, and that's something. And what's funny is, as a people, we don't know our story as much. We don't know our lineage. We don't know. Some of us only go back to maybe 2-3 grandmas, and that's it. We don't really know, or we don't even care to know past that. And I think that that's so important that we know our ancestors and honor our ancestors. So therefore, we can leave that legacy to our children's children.
Well, we never had a cultural reparations after slavery. We always talk about the financial reparations, which are owed to us, and they are, and I'm a big supporter of that, but there's also a need for internal reparations, and before you can ever make effective use of any external reparations, you must first conduct your internal reparations. The black man and the black woman has to heal that relationship of the black man and the black man. We have to heal that egotistical, conflict-based competition we like to have with each other. We need to have a cultural reparation where we restore those things from African culture that benefited us as a people, because until we do that, we're still largely functioning under a slaveocracy system. The black community is still a slaveocracy. When you look at our economic habits, when you look at our dietary habits, when you look at our family habits, a lot of it is still based on the old slaveocracy of 150 years ago. And also psychologically. We need psychological reparations. Black people have never had a period of healing in this country where we were able to detox from all of the self-hate and indoctrination that America put in us. There was no detox period. So most of us are still walking around with the intergenerational scars of our ancestors.
Wow, that's deep. That's so real. That is so deep. And we need healing. And we can see it. I mean, it's obvious that we need healing. And
we're trying to cover up the hurt. We're trying to cover up the hurt with materialism. See, people love to ask the question, why do black people shop more than everyone else? And just for the record, black people purchase Mercedes-Benz 75% more frequently than white folks, even though white folks have 75% more wealth. Let me say that again. Black people buy Mercedes-Benzes 75% more often than white folks, although white folks have 75% more wealth than black people.
Wow.
This year, we spent $600 million on McDonald's. We spent $2 billion on athletic footwear. We spent $4 billion on malt liquor and booze. We spent $9 million on perm, weave, and hair care products, and then we got the nerve to turn around and complain about the school system when we could afford to build our own schools.
Wow. That's deep. That is very, and thank you for the statistics, because oftentimes we know something has happened, but we don't know the numbers. And so I want you to give them a rundown in your degrees and everything, Dr. Umar Johnson, please.
Certainly. My doctorate is in clinical psychology. I have a principal certificate in Masters in Ed Leadership from Bethlehem University. I did my doctoral work at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. And my undergraduate institution, my first college, was Millersville University up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. So I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. I do clinical work. I do therapy. My expertise is in school psychology, so I evaluate for special education disability. And the main reason why I'm coming to Jacksonville next Wednesday, the 28th of Kwanzaa, is to talk to your parents about the miseducation machine. Parents in Florida need to know their rights because they do not know them. Parents don't understand that they have rights in the school. Their children have rights. Your child has a right to remain silent if they are ever accused of something in school that is potentially incriminating. Their right to remain silent does not stop when they come to school. Parents have a right to refuse special ed service. You have a right to deny the request to have your child evaluated for ADHD, a so-called attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is nothing more than ain't no daddy at home disorder, ADHD. You know, and then they want to pump out kids full of Ritalin, pump out kids full of Adderall, Concerta, Vyvanse, Meditate, all these drugs which are pharmacologically no different than the illegal street drugs that send millions of black men to jail. So let me get this right. There's over 2 million black men locked up for selling narcotics. But you'll take the same narcotics that sent his father to jail and give it to his son so he can sit still in school long enough to be miseducated by middle-class white females. There's something wrong with that.
Wow. Listen, that
Don't hold back. Say how you feel.